So hey guys, this is another part of my tutorial for Donkey Kong 94. Um, this time I will be focusing on World 8, and World 8 is by far the longest world in this game. So World 8 also is probably the most annoying and most frustrating world. So when we first start this world off with this stupid stage basically. I just died there on purpose so I could reset like everything. So what you wanna do is you want to walk into the water, and this fish on the right side can either be far to the right or not far to the right. If it's far to the right you have to kill him. If it's not far to the right you sometimes have to kill him, but most of the time you don't. So if you like, it depends, like when I do the stage it depends on the fish if I succeed or not. Like I can succeed at both, but it's like a lot less likely that I succeed if it's far to the right. And if it's far to the right you lose time regardless. That's like slower. So you want it to not be too far to the right. So let's see where he is now. So he is like not far to the right. So now we don't have to kill him and we can just skip him. So like I won't show. So here you want to wait, because if you go up that you will change the direction of that thing, and yeah, it's slower. I will not go into every advanced thread there is that I don't really use in a run that often, unless the run is shit or I need some extra time save. So there is an advanced thread in 8.1, but I won't show it here. So now he is far to the right. What I do all the time to that was bad. So I want to show you guys how to deal with that fish when it's too far to the right, as optimal as I know it, or how I do it. So he's not far to the right again. So I guess I can use this trick to show the advanced trick. So the advanced trick would be to throw the key upwards and then to do a hand. Yeah, see, that's like extremely difficult to do. But basically do a double handspring to that part and and then you basically complete the stage. But I rarely do that in a run. But I had the time to show the trick. So now he is far to the right. So you want to wait, and then like you basically want to wait until he charges to you and then jump and throw the key against him. So here you can just go up and ignore this guy. So that was stage 1. Next stage is just extremely difficult to execute. So there are like these hedgehogs in like caged, and over that are like tiles that can be that vanish if you walk on them. So the idea is to not trigger any of those tiles. So I triggered everything, like every on purpose here, to show you what happens if you trigger them. So that shouldn't happen. So you can still complete the stage if you trigger 1 or 2, but it depends on which tile that was, and it also depends on how good you are at the game. So this is how I normally do the stage, and it is quite difficult. Let me just say it like that. So I can show you the safest way of doing the stage, which is still not really safe. So the safest way would be to handspring to the key, like doing this. Jumping over that with a handspring, grab the key, then throw it up, do a handspring, double handspring upwards. That would be the fastest way, but for me personally, I like to do a backflip instead of a handspring. Like I will show you that in a second here. So as you can see, I jumped over this seat with handspring first, but now I did it with a backflip. It's way more comfortable for me to do. So it's just personal preference basically, but I think backflip is even a slightly bit faster. What I also sometimes do is, instead of jumping on over that platform with a backflip, I do a handspring and double handspring up here. So that was stage 2. So stage 3, you basically want to mash as fast as you can at the beginning, so that you can go up the waterfall. I don't know if that's intended. I think it is, because they show that in the cutscene, kind of. So you want to mash to get up here, then you want to jump down. You try to not trigger the stone under you. So if you trigger it, it's slower, so you want to trigger him at that spot and then complete the game, the stage. So now stage 4. Stage 4 is very RNG dependent. Depending on RNG, you want to play this stage differently. Usually lose around 10 seconds in a run to RNG on this stage. So he can decide basically when to switch a switch, and that decides whether you can finish a stage quickly or not. So this was optimal. This was best possible time. I won't go over that any further on that stage, because you just have to play the stage a lot of times to see different kind of RNGs and get to know the stage better. There are plenty of different RNGs you can get there, and would be pointless for me to go over every one of them. So, but that was the first 4 stages, and there are like stage 2 is hard, and 1, 3, 4 are just like very annoying and trolly, I would say. 8.5, I only showed the advanced strat because I already forgot how to do the not advanced strat. This is quite difficult at first. But if you really want to get good at the game, this is a really cool strat. Saves so much time. So you want to hit everyone, like every tire there. Then you want to do the backflip keyword glitch, tumble once, so now you're invincible against enemies, and now you can just not die to this head shock there if you happen to be slow. Usually you won't hit it regardless, but for the case that you might hit it because you're too slow, it doesn't matter because you're invincible. So now I will do this a bit slowly, or like more explainable. So you want to grab the hammer, kill this head shock, kill one of the tiles there, throw it, do a backflip, and you can see what can happen with this trick. You can lose the hammer, and that will probably happen a lot in practice when you learn it, because it still happens to me in runs sometimes. So that's a big mistake that should not happen, but it sometimes happens. So here again, you don't want to handspring here, because with your handspring you hit the head shock there. So destroy one tile, move to the right, backflip, grab hammer, backflip, and so on and so on. So backflip keyword glitch, tumble once, now you're invincible, and as you can see, if you're invincible, you cannot die to that enemy. So I will do this one more time. So you don't have to slow down. You cannot reach this head shock, or you cannot die to the head shock if you just walk. So here you want to destroy almost everything. Then you want to do the backflip keyword glitch, tumble once. It's important that you only tumble once. So this was optimal execution of the stage. So if you do it optimally, you don't even hit the head shock, but there is a huge chance that you might not instantly get into the gap, and then you would die if the head shock would come closer to you. But that's why you do the backflip keyword glitch in that case. So here you want, this is like very easy stage, but it's also like kind of annoying. Like every stage somehow is annoying in World 8. So you want to place the handspring there, the trampoline there, and you want to do the trampoline glitch. Then you want just to get, this is like very self-explanatory actually. You want to throw the key there so that you can ride on it basically. Switch the switch. Depending on how fast you got the trampoline glitch, you have to wait there or not. You also want to wait on the elevator depending on the time you get to the elevator. Sometimes you can get caged there because you get on the elevator and then he goes up and then you are in between two walls basically. So 8.7 I only showed the advanced thread because it's way more reliable than the safe thread, which makes it not a safe thread basically. So what you wanna do basically here is you want to jump on this platform, do the backflip keyword glitch, and roll, like you jump from here with the backflip keyword glitch around this place, so that you can roll to the left, and optimally you don't want to hit this item box, so that you save the time this state saves basically. So you want to go in between. So as you can see, the key is over Mario's head, like far over Mario's head. That means I got the one tumble basically. So we want to do the double tumble here because the double tumble saves you a lot of time and makes the stage a lot easier than not having a double tumble. So, and for the double tumble we have to tumble twice. So you want to basically land on this thing right here, or like you will already lose, like you will already execute the double tumble when you are around here because the key is too far away from Mario and it will just do the double tumble. But optimally you want to land on this thing the way that you don't have a falling animation. You will see in a second what I mean. Like here I got the falling animation, and I will show you later that you can get it without the falling animation. So what makes it easier is that you can just go here instantly without having to worry about having the key or not. That was always a huge problem in the stage, that you had to worry about the key, and that made it a bit more RNG dependent and a bit slower. So now we do this stage again. The backflip keyword glitch, tumbling once, so now I had the falling animation again, but I ignored the item box, which is really good. That should normally not happen, so now I can, when I would go into the door now, I would have finished the stage. So, but I wanna show you that you can go without the falling animation, which saves a bit of time. It makes the stage also a bit easier to handle, because there's less things that can kill you, because you're just jamming faster. Like, just like I won't come do the stage again, or I have to. I did mistake. So you have to, like, if you don't get if you get the falling animation, you basically are more viable to those seeds, those flowers spit out, because they are in the place where they can hit you basically. So here maybe. Why am I not getting it? That doesn't make any sense. That is not hard trick or anything. That was on purpose. But this is also good practice for me, still. So this should work. What the fuck? You just have to hold right. Why doesn't that work right now? Kill me here, thank you. It doesn't really make sense why it doesn't work right now. What the fuck was that? That you should also not do. So this is bad RNG from Donkey Kong Jr., but that doesn't... There it was, finally. So here, the bad RNG, like I said, but you've seen what I meant by not getting the falling animation. So now you just complete the stage. Optimally you get a time of 188 or 189 here, but usually it's around 187. So here in this stage I don't really have to talk, have to say anything. I just show the advanced thread because it's very obvious what the normal thread would be. You would just go on these things, climb a ladder and just do it normally. But an advanced threat would be to backflip up here. It's harder than it looks. And the second would be to backflip right, backflip left, and backflip up there. So normally he would just go on those stones, climb up normal the ladder, and wait until they like not aren't in your way basically. So here they're introduced like how you can go through a waterfall, but you can actually go like you can go up at waterfall how much you want. You just need to press the A button really fast. So 8-9 is a bit like more insightful. 8-10 and 8-11 are pretty like straightforward. There's nothing to say anything about basically. So I show you the advanced thread first. The advanced thread would be to go up here. That was like fail. Let me do it again. So the advanced thread would be to go up here. So like that. It's not really that difficult, it's just a bit of luck dependent and a bit of practice. So the normal step would be to collect this item box and go up the ladder, which is definitely slower, like around 8 seconds, or might even be 10. So there are multiple ways of how you can go down here. The thing that I like the most is to go into the waterfall and just collect the key. But I will show you another way of going down there. Like if you go into the waterfall and don't land on the ground, then you don't have a falling animation. So, but you can also use this key to go down. But I don't like that because you can throw the key to DK Junior, and it's just very dumb to do. In some cases, it's better to do than the waterfall strat. For example, if you would throw the mushroom into the waterfall and then he comes back, that would be a bad thing. So then I would go down with the key. But when I have good RNG when it comes to mushrooms, I always jump into the waterfall. So this is the most hardest stage in the game. So you just do the backflip keyword glitch and yeah, save the world with that. It's a pretty easy stage. You don't have to worry about anything here. 8-11. It's just important in what order you collect these item boxes. So you want to collect the far left one first. Then you want to collect the one that's like here in the sky. And then you want to collect this one. It's important so they don't disappear before you are at the place. So there's not much to the stage whatsoever. Like there are a lot of stages in World 8, but most of them are very easy. Like World 8 is really not a hard world. It's just like very annoying things can go wrong and you can lose very annoying things time. So this is more difficult. You just have to look at my movement and have to figure it out for yourself. That's how a lot of things work in this game. You have to play this game a lot and have to try things a lot to get better at the game. And explaining the movement wouldn't bring you shit because you wouldn't understand it. Or like, I couldn't explain it that well that you would understand it. And explaining how you move and how you do things generally not a good idea anyway, unless there's some specific movement about the trick. It's just you have to play this game, and when you play this game a lot, you get better and better, and more things seem to be possible than they were before because your backflips are more accurate than they were before. Like that's what I noticed about this game a lot. When I got better at the game, I generally like I always had like there were tricks that I thought were impossible, but then I could backflip better, and suddenly they seemed very very like a lot more plausible than they were before. So the last 3 stages though are pretty hard in this world. Like 8-14 is probably the second hardest stage in this whole game. So and the only reason for that is one jump that you have to do. So you see this like the this like split in the stone, you want to handspring against it so that you have like a setup for the jump. So what you wanna do is a double handspring. You wanna land on the edge of the platform and jump to the other side, basically. So here again, so I missed this like cut in the stone there, and then you want to basically do this jump, and that jump is really difficult. That will take probably hours. Like me, took it basically hours to get somewhat consistent at it. So here you want to kill the flower on almost every circumstance, because the flower has very weird hitboxes and you can easily die if you don't kill it. So that stage is probably the second hardest stage in the game, just because of that jump. So 8:15, I will just show you the main way of doing this stage. So you wanna trigger this by you wanna trigger the stone by jumping, then you want to do this basically. And then you want to do this jump. There's like all like very like a lot of things you have to do basically. I will do the stage again to show you again. So what you wanna do is you want to jump on this conveyor belt and trigger this stone by jumping. Then you want to figure out what the time is that this elevator goes up. So when you jump, that you land on it basically like this. And then you want to jump here so that you roll. And then you want to do this jump, which is quite precise, so that you make the first cycle of like the stone. If you don't get the first cycle and your time isn't that optimized, it's not that big of a deal, but if you have a very optimized time, it's quite some time that you lose there. So trigger the stone, know when the elevator comes up, jump on this jump on this platform, do this jump, which is quite difficult, get on the first cycle, and if you're really crazy, you can do like a strat that saves 1 second or so, or half a second, but it's not worth it to do. I would just do it for the funsies here in this case, just to show like a more advanced strat, but I don't do that in a run ever, because it's stupid. So here you can see that I mistimed it, so I just died. So that's a very common mistake, especially if you're new to this category. I still do it sometimes in runs, which is very frustrating at the end of this world. So what does this save? So if we just go forward for the example, if I would still have the key, I would need to throw it up there, which loses time, and if I throw it up here, it doesn't lose time, so I save a throw basically. So it's just very minimal amount of time save, so it's not worth it to do in a run. Unless you're very consistent with it, then there would not be a reason why you wouldn't do it, but yeah. So this stage is pretty easy. You wait here so that he shits an egg on you. So you instantly throw it against. Oh, actually, I don't take what I just said there. So again, so at the first you wait so that bird shits an egg on you, like this. Then you wait until. So what you have to know about these enemies, if they haven't started walking, if you collect them and throw them at Donkey Kong, nothing happens. So you have to wait until they start moving. So when they start moving and you collect them, you can make damage with them, with those enemies against Donkey Kong. But if they didn't start walking, Donkey Kong won't take any damage of those enemies. So here, started walking, you instantly throw him against him. So the reason why you do that is so he doesn't accidentally throw the enemy, he doesn't accidentally throw an enemy against another enemy. So he can sometimes, if you wait for him to throw another enemy, he will most likely throw an enemy against the bird, which will lose you one potential damage against Donkey Kong. So here in this case, you wait until he does the third enemies, because there's no way he will hit any other enemy with the enemy he's throwing. So here in this case we wait for him to throw that last enemy. So now you throw that enemy against him, and now the last one, and that's World 8. Even though World 8 is definitely the longest world, it is definitely not the longest world to explain things in. Like I'm done after 25 minutes, and World 7 took me like almost 45 minutes actually, to get everything across in a good way, I would say. World 8, to summarize this world, it's just very annoying. There are not that difficult stages on World 8, but when there's a difficult stage, it is really difficult, and all the advanced threats are very difficult. So, and the next part will be World 9, the final world. So I hope you enjoyed this so far, and see you in the next part.